Hey guys. So Tiago covered the importance of getting into the habit of capture, of really learning to trust yourself and judge what resonates for you when you're reading or surfing about in the web. So I would love to run through some of the options available for getting all that good resonant stuff into your Read Later apps and into Evernote. So Tiago wants to focus on the most used, most high leverage knowledge sources. So that's web articles and ebooks, basically. He covered Instapaper. He didn't get a chance to talk about Pocket, which is an alternative to Instapaper. And he didn't go into IFTTT or Readwise too much. These are integration services that get your highlights from Instapaper or Pocket and into Evernote. So I would love to give you a closer look at those little missing pieces, just so you've got the full picture. It's a lot to cover, so I think this video is probably the best way. So Tiago demonstrated how easy it is to clip a full web page with Evernote, but you can also choose to clip just a partial page, just the text. You can cut out the junk and just pick whichever bit resonates or is most useful for you. Um, so that's one of the reasons people say Evernote's so good for capture. You know, you've just got a lot of different options there. For example, a designer might clip all of this whole page and they might want to put it in a swipe file about web design, inspiration for the next project. Whereas a student might only clip this small part because she knows she's doing an essay, perhaps about the whole text. She'll take the whole text with her. But what if only like a couple of lines of this are really resonating for you? Like, what if you just need this wee bit here? So you don't want to gunk up your second brain with all this extra fluff. You want to be reducing things down. So that's when Hypothesis might be useful. That's another app. We can talk about that after in the Q&A. It lets you just highlight the line you need, just like this. Um, so if maybe the whole thing is interesting to you, but you're not sure what to make of it yet, you haven't got time to read it now, maybe it's the morning time and you're sort of high energy and you're not going to waste your productive prime time going through some rabbit hole on the internet. Well, then you just send the whole thing to a read later app. So it could be Instapaper, like Tiago showed, or it could be Pocket, which is, I mean, they're so similar and they're basically the same, but we can talk at the end if you want about the sort of subtle differences between the two. So to actually sign up with these services, it's as simple as just going to the website, creating an account with the individual software companies, whether it be Evernote, Hypothesis, um, type in your details, follow the instructions, um, and similarly, once you've got an account with them, it's dead easy. You just install the extension for each piece of software on your browser. So if you've got Firefox, um, or Chrome or Safari. I believe these work on all three. Um, and really, you can just go into the internet and type software plus web clipper plus browser name plus extension. So if I want to get the Evernote web clipper extension, I'll just type Evernote web clipper Firefox extension because that's my browser, and or Evernote web clipper Chrome extension. So dead simple, and there's so many instructions on the internet. I don't want to waste your time going through this in too much detail, but if you're stuck, definitely hit me up in Circle and just create a post and tag me, and I'll jump in and walk you through it. So Evernote Web Clipper sends stuff to Evernote. Here we can see the stuff that we've clipped from before. Pocket Web Clipper sends stuff to Pocket, the Pocket app where you can read your articles later, just like Instapaper. Hypothesis similarly sends stuff to the Hypothesis app. And I believe there's a whole bunch of detailed functions there that are great for academics, which you might be worth looking into. And if you're a collaborative academic, I don't know too much about that. But if each of these all send the data to their own apps, how do we get them into our second brain? Like, how do we get these back into Evernote so that we can have them all together and start working with them? So that's when we start using integration apps. So you've got IFTTT and you've got Readwise. Briefly, IFTTT is free but annoying, and Readwise is expensive but delightful. There are so many exciting extra features that I'd love to go through with you afterwards. But let's start with the annoying one. Basically, Tiago tried to show this on the live call on Wednesday in the Q&A, but I think their website was down. So let me show you now. You just choose a recipe. So for example, here I can select this recipe and connect Pocket with Evernote. Maybe it's not that annoying. Maybe this is just a little extra step that you're happy to take. I mean, it's awesome to have a free software. Um, and Readwise. So this is an alternative to IFTTT, where we've had recipes with IFTTT. Readwise has these export and import pages. So dead easy, you just toggle and sign in to the software that you've signed up with, and that activates the integration. And the joyous thing is that then all your highlights will then port across as one. And you get just loads of amazing extras. So it's, I mean, it's a real investment. You can review your highlights daily, either by email. They'll send them to you by email if you want, or in the app, which is how I do it. And it's just a lovely way to keep your learning fresh in your mind. You know, not to highlight stuff, find it resonant, and then sort of lose it forever. Everything's constantly resurfacing, so it's this opportunity to sort of keep your learning and your reading alive in your mind. So another great thing that they've got here with Readwise is tagging. So when you're reading a Kindle book or say this Pocket article, you can do almost like Markdown if you're familiar with that while you're reading. So say I tag this highlight um, with .h1, then beautifully when this exports to my Evernote, that line will be a header one, and it just makes everything easier to read. Just instantly, you've got this wee bit of structure in your note, and at a glance, you can sort of see what the shape of the original text was in your Evernote. And another fab thing you can do with tags is they call it, it's a bit of a mouthful, they call it the concatenation function. So when you have two parts of a sentence that you want to keep, and there's a whole load of junk in the middle that you don't really need to save, you can just tag the first part of the sentence with C1, the second part of the sentence with C2. That's dot C1 and dot C2, which a dot is what you put if you want it to be a tag in Readwise. And then that means that it will be saved like this. So that's how it'll look in your Evernote. So it's such a joy to work with, and the guys that run it, they're expanding. They're actively using basically every trick in the book to make nonfiction reading something that definitely results in learning and gives you the long-term knowledge that you sort of come to your books and articles for. So that's the whole workflow. I just wanted to give you a sense of how things get from these highlighted or clipped apps into your Evernote and sort of what your options are, like what the pricier options are, what the cheaper options are. So I would love to hear from you guys. What are you curious about? What have I missed out in this demo? What would you like to dive deeper into? And also, I'd love you to have a think about your own system and what have you got set up already? What's missing? And how are you going to fill in the blanks with the options available? And also, how can I help? So just, let me know what info is missing and then we can just talk through it in the Q&A. Ask me anything.